decorations hooked up. Now I just need to find out where to put this last awesome little...
I swear, man, the winters get colder and colder every year. Oh, wow. Rob, it looks like you're getting quite into the season.
Yeah, I love this time of year. The time of joy and giving and caring and the awesome presents people give to one another. It's also peaceful and loving, and Nintendo's sales are at an all-time high. And
yeah, well, all that's great, and of course the Sega Saturn.
Yeah, and Sega's... Wait, what?
Yeah, really. I mean, the Sega Saturn just screams Christmas special to me for some reason. Easily explainable, I'm sure.
Now, hold on a second, William. We're talking about Christmas here. You mentioned Sega, and I don't see the connection at all.
Oh, please, dude. It's not really about Sega themselves. It's more or less more about one of their mascots.
Ew, not Sonic the Hedgehog. He's not Christmas. He's blue, stupid. Christmas is about red and green colors, like Mario and Luigi.
Yeah, keep up all that humbugging, and I'm pretty sure you're going to get visited by 3 spirits tonight.
Now that's an empty threat if I've ever heard one. I've seen this show's budget. Now if you'll excuse me, I've got some eggnog to drown my sorrows in.
Yeah, you go and do that. Anyway, as I was trying to say before I got interrupted, many people have their holiday traditions, from dressing up, going out and caroling, watching certain Christmas specials, or spending time with family. And I like to indulge in all of those old school traditions as well. But one tradition that I particularly like to revisit every year is a good old-fashioned Sega mascot character that unfortunately doesn't get a whole lot of love and attention this day and age. And that character would be Nights. Nights into Dreams. Oh, good memories. Now, I've tried to talk about Nights and his games in the past before, but I don't know, for some reason, looking back, I always felt like I never really did a good enough job. Like, I always could have explained it better, maybe talked about the story more elaborately, or explained the gameplay tad more. I don't know. Whatever, maybe the videos were a little more gimmicky than I would have liked looking back. I don't know. But for some reason, it just always made me want to go back and do them all over again. Some of you might even remember them. So, you know what? The time feels right. The season is here. Let's just get it all out and talk about Nights into Dreams, his whole character, his whole history, everything that the character has accomplished over the course of being his fans, all of that. This is going to be an entire Nights retrospective, and I think I have the perfect game to start us off. Well, let's go back to the Sega Saturn, where Nights originated.
Now, of course, it's well known that the Sega Saturn didn't do all that well in the United States by any stretch of the imagination. However, that was not the case for its home country of Japan. Thing is, the system was a monster and sold like hotcakes and did considerably well in the games department. I don't know, maybe the threat of Sega to Sanjuro coming to your house to beat the ever-living hell out of you if you didn't buy one might have had something to do with it. But I digress. Marketing strategies aside, the system was pretty awesome and was more than capable of dishing out what the PlayStation could do and more. The problem was, nobody outside of maybe Sega really knew how to develop games for it. Long story short, on paper, the specs of the Sega Saturn outshined the PlayStation in almost every way. However, due to its complexity, it was difficult to code games for it, and understandably, it resulted in less interest from third-party game designers. Well, anyway, that's enough homework. I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you have a bigger, badder, and better video game console. If nobody knows how to work the damn thing, it's pretty much a paperweight. The reason I bring all this information up about the Saturn is that it's still a great console. And while it didn't house any original Sonic game, almost, Nights is one of those character mascots that many would probably associate with the Sega Saturn system itself, being one of the most unique and highlighted games for it.
Now, when we get to the first game in the series, I'll elaborate more on its history and all of that. But right now, I want to focus on one of the more unique entries in the series, and that would be none other than Christmas Nights. You see, back in 1996, when the first game was originally being released,
Christmas was coming up soon, and Japan wanted to increase Sega Saturn sales. So, they figured why not create and market a Sega Saturn Christmas bundle package. Not only would this include a new Sega Saturn, but also a bonus sampler disc featuring 2 levels from their hot new original game, but completely made over with a Christmas theme setting, complete with snow, holiday music, costumes, and a short original story serving as a follow-up to the original game itself. If you lived in the United States, however, and were subscribed to Next Generation magazine, you got a free copy of the Christmas Nights with it, but in English. As you begin the story, a narrator informs us that a teenage boy and a girl named Elliot and Clarice are enjoying the season of Christmas in their home city of Twin Seeds. Yeah, make your Twin Peaks references here, haha, a lot of jokes. Shortly therein, they begin to notice that everyone else who's going along their merry way is rushing to meet demand for the holidays, and they begin to worry that people might be missing out on what's truly important. Elliot and Clarice have a feeling that something is missing, and nobody seems to care or take notice, because they're also consumed with commercialism.
This is the most cheerful time of the year, but it seems like nobody is paying any attention to something important.
With that, our duo looks upon the Twin Seeds Tower and sees that it's decked out to look exactly like a big Christmas tree. The one problem is, though, however, the star on top seems to be missing. At this point, the game begins, as you can either play as Elliot or Clarice and join with Knights, who lives in the dream world of Nightopia, to find the star and stop the Nightmarens from ruining the holiday. Why not? Upon finding the nightmare creature called the Gilwing, who's holding the star in his lair, Knights and friends defeat him and return the star to where it belongs. Waking up the following morning, which, safe to assume, is probably Christmas Eve, Elliot rushes to Clarice and the town to see if all turned out well. Elliot catches a nasty fall when he slips on the snow, but thankfully everyone around is quick to help him up and join in the laugh and merriment. Everything turned out fine, and they see that the star is back on the tower where it belongs. The same narrator from before informs us of this, and before ending the game, sends all of the players off with a cheerful holiday message.
Merry Christmas.
It is indeed the simple things in life.
Okay, well, as you can see, the story is not something to take super seriously. It's just a charming, almost storybook-like tale you would read to the kids like 'Twas a Night Before Christmas and things like that. Even the narrator, who's delightful to listen to, is reading it like it's a simple storybook. And for just a glorified bonus demo disc to go out of its way to give you a unique experience, only to be found within the sampler, it's actually pretty cool for Sega's designers to go out of their way. I mean, think about it. They could have easily just called it a Christmas sampler and just threw 2 stages in it and nothing else, and called it a day. But to reshape the levels and give the disc its own personality is something I can totally respect. What's even cooler about all this is depending on the times you play this disc, it will change the setting from Christmas to New Year's to even a regular setting without any holidays attached at all. All of this is truly great, but honestly, I think what most people enjoy about this package in particular is the presents that lie within it. After completing the stages and repeating playthroughs, you're taken to this bonus screen where you get to select what presents you want within the time limit. The idea is you match up the images, and whatever you get right, you unlock. These can range from a karaoke section where you can sing along with a main theme to the game, a time attack to improve your score, some concept art and images and cool nifty things like that. But probably the most notably and sought after is unlocking Sonic the Hedgehog and playing his own original stage made for this bonus disc alone. Sonic into Dreams. Yes, my friends, you can play as Sonic the Hedgehog and run around the stage that Knights usually flies through. After completing the stage, Sonic faces one of the Knights bosses reskinned to look like Dr. Robotnik. It's actually pretty cute. Admittedly, while this isn't a fantastic experience, it really is kind of a fun novelty and does take some work to try to unlock. The odds of failing the presents bonus sections is pretty good, which means you are going to have to replay it again and again just to have another shot at trying to get it. I mean, it is a nice little bonus to be able to earn Sonic and run through a night stage with him, but it's pretty easy to see that this kind of game clearly isn't suited for Sonic's high-speed gameplay style. And if you are not the one playing, oh boy, it can be pretty nauseating. But still, amidst all of the remakes and ports that Nights into Dreams has gotten over the years, the presents from Christmas Nights, including the Sonic level, have all been excluded from ports, which means playing the game on your Sega Saturn is the only way you will be able to fully experience the Christmas Nights as it was originally intended to complete with all its bonuses. And it's because of this that prices for copies of this game for an American Sega Saturn are starting to get pretty steep. Still, even without the bonus presents, the Christmas Nights levels and story have been included in the remakes and ports and are better looking, and I think even more playable. I don't know. I think just having a wider screen makes the game a bit easier. That, and I think to some degree the camera angles might have changed a tad to allow you to see where you're going a little bit better, but I'll have to confirm that in later videos. I didn't talk a whole lot about the gameplay, because I think that's really something that needs to be explored in the review of the actual game itself, Nights into Dreams, which will be the next video. But the short explanation, regardless of who you choose to play with, Elliot or Claris, both will encounter knights whom you will take control of, in a somewhat 3D 2.5D side-scroller. Knights can fly in any direction along obstacle courses, collecting blue chips to fill up the Christmas trees along the way. After collecting 20 of them and planting the tree, Knights can move on to the next course. The rank of each course is determined by how many points you gain before touching the checkpoint, and how many aerial tricks you pull off while doing it. In short, the more practice you get on a stage and memorize the course, the better you will do. After the stage, you face off with one of the nightmare bosses and use whatever gimmick is needed to defeat it. Depending on how fast you do this, also affects your ranking. If you're not one for time attacks or scorekeeping, then it's not really a big deal. But for those diehards who like to get the highest score, well, there's plenty to keep coming back and trying harder for.
Well, my friends, that's Christmas Nights. No, of course it's not groundbreakingly fascinating and all of that stuff by today's standards, of course not. But you gotta remember, back in the day of 1996, it was still pretty spectacular. 3D gaming was still a brand new concept that wasn't really being fully explored yet. And Nights was able to take one of the first steps in utilizing 3D to its advantage and make a gameplay experience that really captivated a lot of players out there, as well as gave them a shot at the original game.
I know that the game is reaching pretty high prices on the internet, and honestly, while I do enjoy playing this as a tradition, it's really not worth that kind of money. Like I said, the Christmas story and levels have been remade and touched up on the full game's remake, which has been released on numerous consoles, including Steam. So if you can live without playing as Sonic the Hedgehog in the game, I think you'll get the same experience just fine. There is no point in paying a huge amount of money for what really is just a glorified demo disc with some nice perks.
Well, it's certainly a fun holiday special for me, and probably a lot of other video game enthusiasts out there who like to get into this sort of thing. Well, I certainly can't wait to play it every year, just to get me into that holiday cheery mood, the one where everybody comes together and greets and loves and fulfills merriment and gives willingly. That being said, guys, the holidays are upon us. Thank you guys so much for watching thebrotherhoodofgaming.com and supporting me and my friends and the show for so many years. We definitely could not have gone this far without you guys, and we hope you guys will continue to do that, and I certainly hope that all of you have a wonderful time with your family, your friends, and maybe even going out there to help others who are less fortunate than others. Meanwhile, you all have been absolutely awesome and amazing viewers, and we hope to continue to spread and grow even more and entertain even more of you out there. Until then, I gotta go stop Rob from drinking all the eggnog, and I got more videos to make in the future, so be sure to join us in the polls, which we're now putting on our community section, and we'll see what you guys want to see next. Okay, bye!
Merry Christmas!